It's my first time in a long time. It's like my confession.
Can you extend?
So you're saying what? The Sevens guys are popping bottles?
They don't drink Bondo anymore. There's no rugby player. Yeah, guys should drink Bondo now. Yeah, but now these days seems everything is okay.
Actually, so rugby players drink.
They even wear nice sneakers, bro. They're international. You
bro,
really
man,
see.
I need those sneaks, man. I need a plug.
In the shorts.
But who do you think? So you see, everyone is having all their swag up.
Yeah.
Who is that guy who you think is still slacking a bit?
You want me to get caned? You want me to get caned? I'm not commenting shit. All I want to ask is that in those short shorts, do wallets fit inside?
Man, I don't even know if you can stretch those shorts, man.
Man, a wallet can't even fit. Because my wallet is heavy. No pun intended.
Interesting. Anyway, another episode of the Fat Cats Rugby podcast. A particularly special one, I should say. We have one of the Fat Cats back from, I don't know if it was a journey of discovery. I don't know if it was, anyway. Edwin, welcome back.
Thank you.
Where have you been hiding? We last saw you in about November.
Been on wedding duty and trying to lose some weight.
It's not even your wedding, so
my fingers are a little bit clean, so I don't know. Soon, inshallah, this situation here is gonna change for the better, not for the worse. Dungo Chariku streets. What's up?
You guys are talking stuff that's many years ahead of me. You get what I mean? Like the pressure is hitting you guys. Perhaps I don't know if it is.
No. Why are you attacking me? I have no pressure. What's up? I know it's a month of love, but no pressure.
Speaking of pressure, as you can see, we left out one extra microphone because we had a guest who was supposed to have today. But instead, the person supposed to be bringing the guest came by themselves. Joseph, you have a lot to answer for. You promised us a guest who's, I should call them your better half or something like that, or the fairer side of you. But for another weekend straight, we're just looking at you, man. Not the prettiest of sights.
Anyway, guys, it's always jokes, but I don't know if this guy is actually serious, but I actually see an empty microphone here. If you know you're supposed to occupy this microphone, if you know you're being referred to as my better side, better half, man, you better come for the next episode.
In the month of February, you have to appear.
I promise, but
the sugar to your tea.
Yes.
You see, I'm turned at your colisi. What?
My lord, that's the Lucanio to my arm.
The Lucanio to your arm.
Anyway, today I have Edwin. He's always dependable.
What's up?
He's always appearing whenever you need him. Edwin, welcome back, man.
Don't make me blush, man. It's been a while. It's good to be back. Been out of action once in a while, but I was actually looking around how to put the mic on and whatever. But yeah, it's good to be back here and talking rugby in the month of love.
In the month of love. In this month of Feb, what rugby action are you looking forward to most?
Yeah, there are no games on 14th of Valentine's.
The Tuesday, no excuses.
No excuses.
The only excuse you can say, baby, I'm in office and
the office
you have told me I have to finish this assignment. That's the only.
And after the assignment, you know, man, at times if you don't have money, or if the budget is not budgeting, you see, when you have chat, you remember usually Feb, that weekend of Feb, rugby players used to give gifts, flowers, to the fans in the stands.
I remember that video.
Pirates is the club that started it.
Yeah.
Then, man, some fans would, of course, there are 23 players on the field.
Yeah.
Sometimes some come with their pre-invited fans.
Yeah.
Give the flowers to. Then there are those fans who would miss out on getting the flowers.
Bambi.
So now, here comes the real life situation whereby we are off the rugby field and, man, you don't have enough cash to do something for your better half. What would you do?
First of all, I've never found myself in that situation. I always make things happen, so that is not...
You give flowers.
If she likes flowers, you have to know what your person is into.
I've never given flowers, man.
You and I both.
You promise. I promise. And
Edwin, why are you lying? Edwin, you're a lover boy.
A little bit. Not too much, but a little bit.
The thing is,
You're going to be really busy this month.
Who, me?
Yes.
Yeah.
With your baby girl. You have to splurge. You have to show
man,
around.
with which money, man?
Don't talk to me. I have a list of restaurants I can take you by.
Howly now. You can't take me and my babe.
No. You sort yourselves out, then you come to Federini B&B, Uchikume.
Hey.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, make sure that all your reservations are at Fred and Winnie B&B because people are booking by the day. So hurry while the rooms last. But yeah, it's a beautiful place. I think we have sang about the ad so many times. Today we'll just talk about Fred and Winnie B&B in particular. What is your favorite part about the B&B?
The kitchen. I promise. So guys, what happens is when you happen to book your room, there's always a fridge in your room.
Yeah.
You can keep your drinks, beverages, soft and hard. The opposite
Bondo.
of soft is hard.
Bondo, eh?
In there.
Yeah.
Then in the kitchen, so the lower floor of the Airbnb has a kitchen that's fully equipped, has your toaster, has your cooker, has your oven, has your fridge, and all the kitchenware you need. So you can prep your meals, and there's a mini dining table in that kitchen as well. So you can prep your meals while there. The another thing I think I loved about the kitchen is the ambience. The ambience. You know, when you eat food, say there are places you go to and the ambience will give you, it will enable you to even eat more. Now, like Shadi.
Really?
When you're passing, you may not have.
Chadi has no ambience, you guys.
Chadi has no ambience.
Wait.
No, where do you take him for dates? Where do you take him for?
Ladies, you deserve better. Do not allow Dungu to take you to Chadondo for Valentine's. Please, don't embarrass us like
that. So Ruben, you're taking your chick to Serena Kick every.
Hey,
which chick?
Guys, let's talk rugby now, man. We're digressing so much.
You were still. I was still trying to find out what is your favorite part about the B&B.
No, the B&B. I think the I don't know how to say it. Is it the patio? The patio on the side where guests have access to somewhat of like a working space with natural environment of the birds chirping, the border guy cruising, and then maybe I think the new addition that they have here is going to be remarkable. It's going to blow people's mind. The braai machine, the grill. So that grill, man, you can even marinate thing on it. So just know it's a little bit too violent.
Would it come off as
PG? Yeah. So that grill, I think, will be something that will be used in the near future for braais and barbecue needs that guests may have.
Okay. I think for me, what really stands out is the bathroom. There is something about those bathrooms that's very cool that does not really deserve one to be in that bathroom by themselves. So I believe that two people should be in there showering together. I think they're really, really conducive. They're spacious enough, and it's just cool. I mean, for those that really pay attention to our ads, you can really see them, and it really gives the romantic vibe that we're in for February. But anyway, aside from all that jazz, February is a month of love. But when you come to rugby, it's the love of rugby, basically. February is a month of love for rugby. There's a lot of rugby going on. The Six Nations is going to start. Super Rugby Pacific is going to start. URC is continuing.
Heineken Champions Cup?
Heineken is coming back in March.
Yeah.
For those that are football fans, even whatever is coming back, Champions League is coming back. And of course, the now Special Rugby Premiership is also still continuing. So, gentlemen, where do we start from having conversations?
You see, Edwin, I was a bit disgruntled from the weekend. You know, at times it doesn't hit me that we've lost or the game has ended until I go back home, shower. Because when we were at Legends, I tried as much as, because Legends is where we have most of our games, 8 of them, and the others are away. But
9.
Whenever there is 9, whenever there are games at Legends and we happen to lose, it does not dawn on me that we've actually lost immediately. So I'm just always catching up, listening to friends. This person is giving you this opinion about what happened on the field, and this person is actually telling you, no, according to the laws of rugby, this is what the law says, and the referee was perhaps right. Now on Saturday, man, I go back home. Of course, we hung the beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hung the beat, had a chat, linked up, friends we've not seen in a while. So I go home, shower. I was home at 9 p.m. So after
Yeah, you disappeared, man.
I had to, man. At a point, no, man. When there is nothing on your... Ideally, you're supposed to be over loose, but, man, times, circumstances. So I was home 9 p.m., then showered. Then I just love chilling by my bed and scrolling on my phone. So I'm looking, and man, I'm like, okay, this game actually means a lot. Because you see, such games is where the league is actually lost at times.
Yeah.
You get, because you may win the coming fixtures, but they're fixtures that really matter. That's why Heathens beat up themselves after losing at Kings Park. They knew what it meant. Coming off an unbeaten run was quite crazy. So Cobs is this team that has always had a narrow in the past 5 fixtures, I should say, including last weekend, narrow losses to the Heathens, only wins. And looking at Saturday's circumstances under which Cobs lost, I believe, much as the game was in the hands of the Cobs to put it away and they had the chances, I feel like if the person in the deciding the calls with that whistle, if they were impartial, right?
Yeah.
If they were impartial, that game would have favored the Cobs because there were clear scoring opportunities or continuation plays that were not granted. You get what I mean? So if I look at such things and it's slowing down the momentum of the game and the other people are able to score, say not because of the dubious refereeing, but their chances are coming clean. And because the referee is preventing this team from scoring, because they're finding fault in their transition to score, it's really disheartening. And to the players, because you guys saw the players tweet away. Ideally, a player should never do that, right?
No, not at all.
Never.
But Dungo, you mentioned something. Which calls do you think the referee made wrong? I really want to get into that discussion.
Now, there is one that was extremely quite clear for me. There is an overlap where Ogena was running down chasing the Legends dressing room.
Yeah.
And he had no last defender to beat. But because Okeni is quite quick, caught up with Pius and put Pius down from the back with a neck tackle. With a neck high tackle, they call it high tackle. With a high tackle, yet Pius had a clear line of what? Scoring. The referee awarded Okeni a yellow card. And that was right. What should have been the right reward for Cobs?
How close was he to the try line?
Pius had about 10 meters.
No, what I recall was that Pius cut back. He cut back.
He did not cut back in.
Was he inside the 22?
Yeah, he was inside the 20. I think he was inside the 20.
He was closing into the 5.
Because when he fell, when he was being treated, he was inside the 22.
It was like
it's
just
inside the 5 or the 22 is supposed to be a penalty try.
Exactly. So that's what I'm trying to say.
There
was no other defender. There was no other defender, and he just had about 7 meters. You get what I mean?
I have 4 words to respond to you.
Yes.
Where is your footage? Where is your footage? Where's your footage?
No, but I understand what you're saying. I mean, this previous week.
So Cobs lost that game by 2 points, right?
Yeah.
So if that were a penalty try, it could have put them away by 5 points, perhaps. Then also, man, you see, there are certain things I can't say.
Say what's on your mind.
I believe Cobs, in that Aaron Ofoye Oroth drop goal, Cobs should have put that kick into touch.
Yeah, but
you have no business keeping that ball on that field.
No, but the kick was good, but it just
it was not.
It was not good.
It was not.
It bounced in.
A good kick in that area is off the field and uncontestable for a quick start.
As a person who has a kicker, your kick is never good until it accomplishes what you want it to do. If it's did
that player want that kick to stay on the field?
No, he did.
Most definitely not.
So Edwin, what are you saying?
The guy kicked the ball and the ball bounced like then went up.
Not even in the man.
Yes. So what are you complaining? Did he kick the ball and then boo, then up, then 1, 2, 3, 4?
Such games make me sick. That's why I couldn't comment in the group chat at night.
But let me first ask. After that game, Any Cubs fans were complaining about the drop goal, this and that. Then when the other side of the footage came through, guys kept quiet. How come people don't talk about those things where they make errors in their decisions? You know, sometimes as fans, one thing I realized is also we get a bit emotional about some of these decisions.
You're right. And you see, Edwin, I keep saying this, though you guys tell me tone down a bit. You see, at times it's not good to get overly excited over certain things. I have 2 points. One, from the area where I was standing, that drop goal actually entered. I promise you it did. So you see how you leave the Legends dressing room and you just walk straight on the side of the field.
Yeah.
As though you are going to the stand where the Heathens fans were. So I was just the first stand, I was just right somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I was actually sitting next to those guys of Pajob. And from that angle, that kick went through. I saw with my eyes. So what confused me is when I started looking at the footage. Before the Bukede footage came out, wait. The footage was now confusing me, but deep down, and I didn't ever argue about that kick. Because I saw with my eyes that kick went in. So the footage comes and the kick is confusing. Then the Bukede footage comes and the kick is actually in. So I was like,
no, actually, just you're right. There was just I think 3 bits of footage. There was NBA Sports, then Kawo came out, then the Bukede is on that sealed the debate.
Bro, Bukede was just right behind of the kicker.
Yeah.
And it real short. And now me, Dungo, I had seen with my 2 eyes the kick go through. And I just kept, you know those kicks of like Johnny Wilkinson's in, was it 2007? When England won the World Cup?
3. Yeah.
I read about Johnny Wilkinson recently, guys. So Johnny Wilkinson made his England debut in 98. He was 18 years old. England, so he inspired England to the 2006 Nations. They won the 6 Nations. 2001.
They won 2000.
2001 and 2003.
Yeah, 2001 they didn't do.
So what happened for Johnny Wilkinson after the World Cup in 2003 and banging that drop goal? So I kept, so Ofoyi wrote this thing. I saw him. So, you know, for a split second, and this is what separates the stars from the mediocre players. The split second decision to do something. You see guys like, I'll give an example of Lucanio Am. In that split second, he will always make the right decision. Remember that try he scored against New Zealand where he banged the backflip pass and sent to Nkosi, then Nkosi sent to Dialande.
Yeah.
And mind you, he was marked by 2 guys, but his decision to switch the ball and use the back. Now, Ofoyi got that ball, it bounced up, then he picked it. He had someone out wide, a wing, I think.
Even had Scott on his near right. Yeah.
Exactly. So Ofoyi got the ball, then moved, then looked up, and the Cubs defenders were far. So he composed himself for about 2 seconds. The rest is history. So I kept looking at his kick. It went. My Lord. You know when you're looking at something and you're like, if only the wind, if only a bird can hit that ball, or the ball to hit the bird. You get, because the bird doesn't want to collide with the ball. Yeah? So Johnny Wilkinson's story. Now, Johnny Wilkinson, after that England World Cup, gets a whole injury layoff, comes back like in 2007. Yeah?
Yeah.
So that shows you that I'm reading a bit. And now Six Nations is coming up. Yeah? It doesn't get any better than reading some of the...
Do you want South Africa to be in the Six Nations?
I mean...
in the near future?
Now, Edwin, guess what? I feel like it's a mistake for South Africa to even play in the Heineken Champions Cup.
It's not supposed to be there.
No, it could play. Now, no, listen to me. Much as the tournament is ideally for European teams.
That's Champions League.
Now listen,
European
the challenge
Champions
comes
League.
in whereby these teams, I was actually looking at one of my South African friends I usually chat with on Twitter. Some guy said that these guys are now starting to understand the core of South Africa rugby. And they're starting to understand how we play, how we used to beat them. Those days, our scrum power was uncontestable. They never used to play us for quite some time. So whenever we would have a fixture, a test game, would come and ambush them with our physicality and all. Bro, right now guys are challenging us in the URC. So guys are getting used to, and you see, I don't want to say they are weak, but in the physical contest, the dominance, in the words of Rassi Erasmus, let's fuck them up physically. I doubt we can easily do that anymore because these guys were playing them week in, week out.
Okay.
They are now starting to adjust. Okay, these South Africans are a bit slow. Their defense loves to be structured, and unless they're playing as a unit, as say the Springboks, so they are starting to understand the way we play. You get that kind of thing. So that's why I feel like it was a tricky decision. And going to the World Cup, these guys now are playing against us so much. You get?
I still don't think that will change anything. We know how to play a rugby Springboks, so the only thing about Springboks rugby, all I'll ask is that let SA Rugby magazine unblock me on Twitter. I'm sorry. I made fun about Raymond Rule, and I said they posted Raymond Rule on Twitter, and I was like, this guy still plays rugby. Block has blocked, so
Okay.
don't go tell your guys to unblock me.
You know,
man.
Raymond Rule is actually my friend.
No lie.
I promise he can retweet this episode.
Really?
He can.
Raymond Rule putting this challenge, and you want to say Raymond Rule retweet?
I promise he's going to
do
do
it
it for me.
Is the comment too much to
Raymond Rule, all the way from Paris, my boy, come through.
Okay.
While we're also in petitions, I want to also ask Exeter Chiefs to first unblock me. Because I made a few banterous comments about Saracens and how we are very dominant. The social media manager of Ascate, and he blocked me. That's like actually 3 years ago. Today I was, no, not today. This week I was checking, trying to see an update, trying to follow up where the thread starts from. You cannot view this.
But you know,
I realized
it's not new. There is even a Ugandan who used to use an unofficial handle to block what? People that would fall in this favor. So it's not something that... So it's international, man. It's an international thing.
Anyway.
Rugby, he's supposed to tell us about what pissed him off over the weekend.
I mean,
disappointed?
I don't like a big game like Cobs Heathens come down to issues like refereeing decisions. I think it's quite unfortunate. For my end, I think the refereeing decision maybe was just that missed opportunity to set it right on play on the rack, off whistle play, because I think that's become quite an issue in Ugandan rugby, where very many people, especially in the league, I think in national team they kind of clean it up, but in the league we have many cheap shots at the rack or cheap shots off the ball, and it becomes a little bit problematic. I did watch the game of Heathens Buffaloes at Chadrondo, I think game week 2. And Michael carried and he was pushed out, and then the player pushed him out again. And I mean, if Michael wasn't really aware, he would have ended up in the rafters and then over. So he managed to hit out, and then Michael, being Michael, he didn't really react to it, but it could have been ugly. So I think from a refereeing perspective, it's the action at the rack clearly shows that the referees and assistant referees need to pay keen attention to off the ball play, because it's creeping into these games, especially these games that are really tight. You have your 5-6 score line, 7-10, tempers are flaring. A guy appears to be slowing down the ball at the breakdown, is trying to slow down your attack, and then you just take it out on a guy. You come and sweep him badly. You want to complete a tackle when the whistle is clearly blown. So I think the refereeing society needs to work on issues of that nature. Going into tournaments later in the year, you wouldn't want our guys to get yellow cards because a few things here and there are slipping through the cracks in refereeing decisions. Yeah, but it was, contrary to what guys are saying, it was a boring game. I think it was a fun game. Usually those tight games keep us tense. We have had the benefit of watching, I think, the last 3 Cobs Heathens games to be very tense. It's been a long time since the games have been blown wide open. I think the times you could recall is maybe when Kalyango and Michael and all those guys, Philip, were playing, and then they did that bad-mannered dance at Legends, and everyone kept... I think, Dungu, you were still in high school at that time. You were in church on the streets.
But there have been complaints about the quality of rugby in those big games. Do you agree or disagree with that observation that there's been a change? It's right now apparently so set piece oriented. The aspect of free flowing has maybe to a certain extent gone down. A lot of kicking and a lot of set pieces in the game. I don't know if you see it that way as well.
When you talk about free flowing rugby, I think the guys at Kings Park are just smiling because many people are saying that if you put Pirates in that game against Cobs, and man, they would have wiped them clean, which I don't agree with precisely because that's a different game. But nonetheless, I think rugby was being played. Rugby set pieces, rugby's collisions, lineouts. I don't think the fact that you didn't see the fancy offloads, maybe game week 1 gave us a lot of hype going into the game. But you know Cobs and Heathens, they are rather subtle, they are mild with each other on the TL.
And
there's that sort of mutual respect.
Even on pitch when they
even when on the pitch, if that incident had not occurred, it was a little bit. Do you remember any big hits coming in there? They play the game to win, not to showboat and whatever. They just want to get the points, right? So that's the kind of game we're going into. How it translates into the national team setup and how guys can turn up. Maybe the only issue I think I had was the aspect of the backs attacking was a little bit not as expected as you would have in a match of this magnitude. Could you argue that players in the backs were not really getting the ball? The ball was not clean from the set pieces. Could you argue that there were too many unforced errors or poor decisions in carrying the ball, when to pass, when not to pass? I remember there was a time when Ogena broke the line and then he had a Casito on his outside and then he didn't pass and then, something like that. So maybe it could have been an issue of that. But, I mean, there were moments of brilliance in the game. Actually, before that skirmish at the rack, Heathens actually took an attack from their 22 and ended up, and actually Sebulima should have passed that ball to Michael. Michael would have gotten rid of that defender, whoever he was. He's just going to shrug him off and like, go that side. Yeah, something like that. So I think we are being unfair to the players to say that the game was a poor, boring show. I mean, the positives I got from that game, you could see that our kicking looks to be, from our key players, looks to be okay. Aredo is kicking very, very well. He kicked 5 out of 6. And, man, Uganda guys really are impatient when it comes to kicking. So, I mean, he's putting his hand up. If the national team setup is still available, he could be a commendable kicker, an option at the boots for Uganda. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you talk about Joseph Redo, there is a 10-12 combination with Ivan Magoma. I don't think we need to put Pius Ogena back in that 12 channel, honestly, in my opinion. But that's a conversation for another day. Maybe I was just trying to say that it's been this week, last week coming into this week has been one that has been filled with many decisions by referees that have not made fans and the world happy. From us here with Cobs, Heathens, and then in general for those that follow other sports, basketball, there was a very, very obvious, which seemed obvious but was very poor in the Lakers Celtics game. And Lakers Celtics, for those that know, is equivalent to Cobs Heathens. Yeah. So and all these were, you could say, definitive decisions in a way, in one way or the other. So we talk about accountability for players and consequences if they do something wrong. What happens to referees who perhaps persistently are on are not? There's one thing to be human and make certain mistakes, but then what happens if you are persistent in being, let me say, average in the way you officiate, and also too in the fact that you have made a decision that is also going to impact a game? Is there any punishment? What happens to them? I mean, we had a space, and honestly, in my opinion, all I had from Madame Anne, as she was speaking, was about, hey, we volunteer, we have challenges, we do this, we do that. But I didn't hear any solutions anyway for it. Maybe there's something I missed. I don't know if you guys have anything to say about that. What do you guys think should have been done?
They can open a Twitter account and apologize like the NBA referees did.
That was so annoying. You'd rather not even apologize.
The NBA referees put out a tweet apologizing. But for the Ugandan context, it brings in very many questions. How many referees do we have? I kind of saw the logic with where she was going, but I think the key issue that was missed out was the aspect of accountability. How do you keep these refs accountable? And I think refereeing, more like being a chef, is about confidence in the kitchen and confidence when you step out on the field. So if you are a referee and you feel like, having had a very bad game on weekend 3, and then you go on weekend 4 and you are presented with another situation where you're involved in controversy, your confidence kind of goes down. So in dealing with accountability, there needs to be transparency. Clubs need to have a transparency. I think on the space we also discussed was that, has Cobbs or will Cobbs make a complaint, something in writing? Because what Anne seemed to suggest was that you guys just come and make noise on the TL, you drag someone's name in the mud, but then at the end of the day, there's no complaint. Nothing in writing that is put forward to kind of say, at minute 31, 59 seconds, there was this incident. Player so and so jumped in the air to get the ball, and this guy took him out, and the ref waved play on. So you'll never get something like that. So at the end of the day, it's like when you go to the post office to check if you have mail, or when you remember the atroom, the atroom where they'll put the list and you're like, do I have mail today? So even if there's like a complaint box for the referee, and she goes and checks her box and there's nothing, she'll be like, oh, okay, so last week was good, so bring on this weekend. So I think that's where the issues need to be addressed from. How are clubs also in there? I mean, don't drag someone on the TL and then you sour grape after and say that would be FC.
Anyway,
you get yeah. So that's the thing. I think the clubs should be, and okay, there needs to be a balance. A club that makes a complaint should not be castigated by referees, because constantly these referees, also in their wisdom or lack of it, like making funny comments when they might be mic'd up or when they are on the field to players. Because what we heard is that allegedly the referee said that you are pretending when one was injured, and I heard that from like 3 players who were on the pitch. Then there was the other time, I think it was Hidden's Cobs, and then the referee was like, Ivan, you're overyapping. You see, Hidden's Pirates, yeah.
That one we all had.
Yeah, everyone had it. So you see, I mean, the referees should be rather cautious with what they say to players, because trust me, if you're not held accountable in the boardroom, we're going to hold you accountable on the streets. So whenever you come as a ref, they'll be like, you get. And it's a disadvantage to the team that is being a participant in that game and which eventually ends up as a winner, because now, even in trying to defend your win, I saw Hidden's guys trying to defend their win on the TL, and man, they're like, man, you guys, outrageous comments about referee association and whatever, whether true or not, but it's really bad for the sport and for the people who actually do the thing. So I think accountability should move from the streets to the boardrooms, and even referees should keep themselves accountable. They need to have their scorecards, and there should be a little bit of transparency on how refereeing decisions are being discussed in the boardroom and how they are being implemented, whether it means taking it to a lower level of games, you're put off games for this period of time, because Ugandan referees need to learn their craft. We don't want another Rugby Africa Sevens here, and then our referees are on the try line just being TMOs instead of officiating main action.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Joseph, you had something you wanted to add.
I had and I agree with all the discussions you make. Now, I want to first respond to what you said and agree with what you said. My friend Summer Emmanuel, always he always alludes to Eddie Jones's famous saying, "Rugby has evolved and join us in the modern age of how rugby is being played." So he likes, he tweaked that England attack with having Marcus Smith and Owen Farrell at 10-12 as the 10-12.
Yeah, it started
combination.
with George Ford and Owen Farrell.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So when we had that space last weekend, and fans commented that with Aredo's form and Ivan Magomo's form, we can similarly have such a combination for
Totally
Uganda.
agree.
Have Ian playing at 13, Philip Okorach at 15, and let them cook. So going back to the Heathens Corps fixture, I believe, I understand. I was interacting with one of the people who have played in the midfield for Uganda and are African champions from 2007. He told me that much as we expect the flair as fans, such a game always comes down to the set piece. And it's such a close contest that it does not become so expansive. You get guys always fix themselves in those set pieces. The ruck is always crazy. The lineouts are hugely competitive, and the scrums are the epic battle. However, I think we are transitioning from all that. Rugby lately, even coaches like my Stormers coach, John Dobson, salute to being named South Africa Coach of the Year ahead of Jack and Rassi. And the Stormers as well being named as Team of the Year. So Dobson said, one, they play to win their fixtures, but above all, to entertain their Cape Town fans. So you can't underestimate the need to play exciting rugby, an exciting brand of rugby. And that's why certain competitions are extremely famous for the flair they come with. I mean, Super Rugby Pacific. It has all these Australian hip hoppers and New Zealanders who have. It's a very fast-paced game. I mean, you're having Adi Savea who runs at a speed of, say, Gary Ringrose. You get that kind of thing. Eh? They're as fast. Adi Savea is running at a speed similar to the wingers of, say, Wales, the Josh Adams and the
Man, Josh Adams is not slow, you man.
Don't disrespect Josh Adams.
But Adi is a finisher as well. So, but you get what I mean. That kind of thing. The excitement. So I think what lacked from last weekend, and Ruben said, can you highlight, I think it was Edwin, can you highlight a moment that stood out, a moment that you can vividly remember, apart from the atrocious calls, a moment of flair?
For real kick. And that stood out.
Exactly. So there are quite few. However, if you look at the Pirates Heathens game, they play a different brand of rugby, both teams. Yeah. So Heathens want to keep it close and perhaps finish out, while Pirates will always chuck the ball here, chuck the ball there, back in loop, short pass. They are giving you.
Now let me show you now. You see the Cobs Heathens game. Usually, when they play, it's about the set piece, right?
Yes.
What is the biggest criticism they have of Pirates when they play Heathens? That they can't match Heathens in the park, right?
Yes.
So what does Pirates do? Make Heathens play your game. Your game of running rugby, right? So now, when you tell Heathens to run, they will not manage. You get? You're trying to run against guys who have sevens players who are assisting the backs and attacking you like that.
Yes.
You're running and your forwards essentially are used to the collusions, but the Pirates forwards are running into space, save for the ones who will carry and enter contact. That's what I mean. So you make them play your game. Trust me, even if they go to Chad on the second leg and Pirates plays wide and Heathens can't catch up, they'll lose. If Pirates plays the scrum game that they always want, that Heathens wants them to play, it may be a difficult game. So you make a team that you're opposing play the game that you want them to play.
Now, fine. Comes back to what I was saying as well. Initially, I was talking about fans getting excited. I didn't conclude on that.
Yeah.
So we've noticed some teams are getting wins and they're on a winning streak, but they have not yet played the big three. I'm not trying to be this guy that you've seen that meme of a person holding a candle. Then this person is like, I'm catching feelings for them.
Yeah.
Puts the candle out. So I'm going to be that guy that puts that candle out.
Yeah.
If that team lands on Heathens,
name and shame.
Bro, they will swallow 30.
So 30.
If they land on Pirates with this expansive game, they'll concede. even a losing bonus.
Why are you a
fail.
hater? Why are you a hater?
But I'm just being honest. Just that you guys fear to say these things. You guys are all on the bandwagon of we are winning here, we are winning there. And even when I don't know if the second round the 7 players will have gone for that Stellenbosch
there is a gap. There is a gap. I looked at the fixtures.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. These guys will always swallow. And these things of getting excited at no loss so far. What?
Aren't they supposed to celebrate?
They've not played
wins?
Pirates. They've not played Heathens. They've not played Cobs. But as for now,
but even in Uganda Cup, when you go through the knockout, you celebrate your win.
You have to celebrate your win.
One win at a time.
Anyway,
one win at a time.
Yeah. Are you talking about arrogant sure RFC?
Say it with your chest. You say it for you don't fear.
Anyway, what else do we have to discuss, guys? Schools rugby is resuming this month, and I don't know much, but I understand from the school I have allegiance to. Guys are always looking forward to schools rugby.
Are we still in the old format of how it used to be played, or is it? Because I've seen a couple of formats that schools rugby is being played in now. There is that format where teams go to a particular school in one part of the country and they play all their games there. Then there's the old format that used to be there where we would have 2 groups, then quarterfinals, semi-final, or just semi-finals sometimes, and then the final. I don't know what format are we on.
I think we're going to go with that one because then you can no longer, times changed so much. Schools are under pressure to deliver results, academic results. So sport is a by the way, but to those who understand it, it's still a big thing, but not like it used to be. You get? Because those days, you'd have a fans bus really dedicated to bringing fans say at Chadondo. Nowadays, they'll only bring a van. You get that kind of thing. So, but it's something to be excited about because, all these stars we are watching on the scene right now have played in that age grade development stage. And it's always good to snipe. We'll be bringing you some of the stars that are standing out, but notable mention to the schools that are really still holding up the game, because along the way we've seen some schools stop participating in tournaments for whichever reason. But see, all play without Jack without play. That one has Jack, but you get it. Makes Jack a dull boy. Work
without play makes Jack. No, me. All I'll say about schools rugby is that I'll speak also for where I come from. I think it's very important that they align the rugby dates and the Sosh dates because there have been precedents of teams that have failed.
Edwin, you need to tell us. You need to come clean and tell people that story, and then probably apologize to Mr. Bizimana on behalf of your year.
Ruben.
Yes.
Ruben. Did you ever hear that story?
No.
I give you a story.
That's bang me.
That should have been the story we started with.
So Schools League, 2010. We have we had what? We had Sosh with.
But I've seen it. We had Sosh with Sunsas. Edwin.
Don't start your things here. We had Sosh with Sunsas.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if I remember the day. Was it Feb? Feb something?
Yeah. February.
Yeah, it was a Feb. I think Valentine's Day was like something like that. So now I don't know who was hating on us, but they gave us our first fixture to be against Komboni.
Yeah, it was Komboni.
Away from home. So technically going to Liragulu, you'd leave on Saturday. When is Sosh held? Saturday. So now in that movie, Susa's girls trying to balance the numbers were like, okay, we all agree. We were all there training during the week and we're like, you know what? We'll go for Sosh. We eat our money until lunchtime. We eat food. After we get our bags and we go and we travel. Now, never putting onions with the babes because that's where malaria starts. Guys enter the main hall. I think that was the time when that song had come out, Try Sleeping with a Broken Heart. Problems. So the Sosh went on well until Mr. Bizimana came to the bus. So to the main hall and was like, "Oh, yo, boys, wrap it up. We need to eat food and go." So, what you guys are yet to come back. You're in S5, eh?
But wait,
You're yet to come back.
We're not yet come back to school.
You guys have a fixture on Saturday.
No. Sosh is on Saturday.
And the game?
Sunday.
The game was
But we had to travel. It was an away game.
Yeah, I get.
Now, and the S5s had, which were us, we had to come back to school.
Yes.
So these boys had no one they could say, okay, you guys go.
No. The team was ably represented. We had Kishato, we had Sembuya, we had Sembuya.
Did we lose that game?
I even don't know the result.
We lost that game.
We don't even care what the result was. Then there was
So,
who else?
you're in main
There was
hall.
Maso.
Mr. Bizimana is like, wrap up.
Wrap up. I'm like, Kim J is like, man, I'm captain. We'll go. Now, I think Busy came when they are still playing slow music. Now they started the daggering music, the dagger. Yeah, so that's where problem started from. So now we go, we have lunch, and then guys start disappearing. And they're not disappearing to get their kits, but they're disappearing to change into the flashy floral shirts to go back into the main hall. Now that's when
But
Mr.
did you guys have floral shirts at the time?
I'm just paraphrasing. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
So what happens is that we end up the bus parks, that place near where the guys would pavilion, where guys would watch rugby from.
Yes.
So now the bus parked there, and then the guy starts hooting. Guys are like, hey! So now guys are running. So this joke going around is that Dexter was with his bag, and Dexter was running, and he was like, leave us. So we ended up missing. And then we're like, oh, damn, we missed the bus, man. We can't go. And then we went back to the main hall. Now, our senses came back at 6 p.m. We're like, guys, we have a rugby game to go and watch. Sorry, play.
Sosh's gum.
You know what we do? Guys all dressed up. They showered. They go to Mr. Muguruma's house. And they're like, Mr. Muguruma, give us there was the Costa. No, not the Costa. The Cavan. They're like, give us the van. The S6s are like what? How many? Like roughly 12. We can go to Gulu. We reach, and then we play the game. Guys like, wow. Mr. Bizimana did not talk to S6s the next week. So when I tell you align Sosh with the rugby program, I know where I'm coming from.
If you had Sosh and a rugby game on the same day, which one would you choose?
Bro, I believe back in the day I would choose Raga.
And now?
If I was there, but I would choose if I'm now, I would choose Sosh.
But anyway.
We were naive. We got a taste of it.
Yeah.
That was an interesting one.
So there's some international rugby coming up.
Yeah.
This weekend.
On that note, before we get into that international rugby, today I was watching Eddie Jones' press conference with Australia. And
I'm not the Messiah.
Yeah, one of the things he said, guys were asking him about more miracles for this World Cup, which is a few months away. He told them, I'm not the Messiah. Then he also, one of the other things I think that I really noted that he spoke about was saying that, man, for players, because they asked him about what style of coaching is he going to come with. He's going to be, because he's notorious for being very brutal and rough and hard on guys, or he can actually be sensitive. So he has both sides, and actually that's what kept England on their toes. They never knew which Eddie Jones they would get on which day. So they were asking him what kind of style is he going to bring for Australia and these many young players that are in the squad. And he was like, man, I'm just going to come and show up. Whoever can handle will be with us. Whoever can't handle, it's up to you. You don't have to show up.
That's a statement of its own. But at some point, you see, I have so much hope in Australia. I believe Australia is this country that plays a lighter version of New Zealand rugby. You get what I mean?
I feel like
they'll always try to play.
I feel like Australia used to even play better rugby than New Zealand.
Yeah,
Australia is that side that has been playing a certain level of rugby for.
They're just inconsistent. Like that team in Ugandan rugby that's getting extremely excited. They are extremely inconsistent. They'll come, give you a huge score, and they'll be all over the place. Then there's also this. Anyway, man. You see, the problem is before a game is played, you don't want to jazz mob. You get that kind of thing. I don't want to jazz.
Like the way you jazz mob for Collins Chimbowa. that he would never score a try. Then he scored a try.
Don't, man, don't.
I have to
Don't.
say it.
I promise, don't.
Bring that video out.
No, don't.
Bring that video out.
Edwin, don't.
You link my Sosh pics.
No.
Bring that video out.
Dungu, you need to tell us this story, man.
Guys, on another day, today we were not prepared for this story. Anyway. No, Edwin, I promise.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I'll fight fire with fire. You try me.
Anyway,
Yeah.
aside from that, yeah, well, let's talk about international rugby and whatever else we need to talk about, then we wrap this up.
So I think we are so blessed as a human race to have the 6 nations in a World Cup year. Because I mean, we're going to have the URC final, Heineken Champions Cup final. We're going to have the 6 nations. We are having the no rugby thingy championship.
Yeah,
but there will be test games.
I think they will have the June tests will happen.
The June tests will happen.
Yeah.
Then we'll have the World Cup in September. I dug up some stats on France. France have reached more semi-finals and finals than Ireland have.
Ireland have never
Exactly.
reached the semi-final.
And France have never won.
Yeah.
So
France
they
has been in, I think, two finals?
Yes.
Two finals.
Two
Yeah,
finals
two
and
finals.
two semi-finals,
Yeah.
I guess. And they are the player with the highest number of test matches as of 2015 had about 118 test caps. You get that kind of thing. So they don't have longevity among their players. So you play, like, just like the NZ wingers. It's only a few like Smith from accounts, Ben from accounts, and the likes of George Bridge, the likes of you can name them that have gone on to play for
George Bridge. When you mentioned NZ wingers,
yeah,
George Bridge is still young.
but he has played for quite some time. Then there is Xavier Julian who tried to come back, but yeah. So France, everyone is having them as hot favorites for 6 nations and the World Cup. 6 nations, some people are talking of Ireland to redeem themselves because they are having the full squad, no injuries. But I want to say it clearly, guys. The World Cup is a different ball game. The guys who have won it will always come and show you what's up. You get? I don't think France is winning this year's World Cup.
aren't you now adopting the arrogant sure mentality that Springboks, because you know the Springboks are winners?
See, the Springboks, anything can happen. There is that thing of the referees can't let you win back-to-back World Cups.
No, there's New Zealand won back-to-back World Cup.
Those guys are special, by the way.
But I understand what you're saying. I also believe I don't think the Springboks are going to win this World Cup. I also don't think France is going to win this World Cup because of the fact that there's always this weird. Okay, for Northern Hemisphere side at least, there's this thing about the team that has a very, very high level of form the year before always seems to slip up. And don't be surprised if you don't see them perform so well in the 6 Nations as well. There is always that thing. Ireland, prior to 2018, they went unbeaten. They beat New Zealand. Where did they?
France was just unbeaten in 2022.
Where did they reach in the rugby?
France was unbeaten in 2022.
So anyway, it's about being a tournament team, and I don't know if France, it's a mental thing. They have reached the final. They're in the tournament team, but how can they get past that level? So it's mental. For Ireland, they still need to understand how to play tournament rugby. Wales is just there to disturb people.
But the Welsh squad this weekend. So Wales is playing Ireland, and I'm giving Wales that win. I've looked at the squad, plus the return of.
I've not even seen Ireland's squad yet.
I've not, but man, Wales look.
No, but it will be an interesting one
Anyways,
because
Edwin
is back.
England is playing Scotland this weekend.
Fun fact: England has not beaten Scotland at Twickenham ever since 2017. They have not. Twickenham. It has always been a draw or a Scotland win at Twickenham.
So
you asked me to make a cappella of a wrong song. Ask me the Scottish anthem or Flower of Scotland.
Are you serious?
When will I see you like again? Me, I'm a Scotland fan, by the way.
Same. But we need to get some of those rugby jerseys around.
Stuart Hogg.
I don't know how.
I had a Scotland jersey, but then things happened.
We need
so
to upgrade our.
Can you sing the? As we are winding up, you'll sing the English anthem.
God Save the King.
Yes.
I only know that part. God Save the King.
You will have to sing it. We'll sing the.
But I know the rugby chant. Swing low, sweet chariot.
Uh-huh.
I know that one, but
Swing low.
this is not a.
Does Uganda have a rugby chant?
You know what happens in Uganda? They carry those same pika. They carry them for national team. It's like,
so we need to master the Heathen Square book.
Bro, I think we do. Because you see, the Heathen's fans will always be the same fans singing during the UG games.
We need call-ups for even fans. These are NT fans now. They make a list. Eddie Chiwanuka makes his call-up of his squad.
Yeah.
See, I love South Africa so much to a point that I learned their anthem. And whenever they're singing, I'm always singing as well. Word for word. Apart from Africans. A bit tight.
What else do we have, guys?
We have to talk about the fixtures for this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Now special fixtures.
About that.
I can talk about the one I'll be watching. You'll tell us the other fixtures where you guys will be.
Maybe just go through the fixtures first, then we'll know what to do.
Yeah,
but we also have the women's fixtures. I know Black Pals is playing the Use.
Budungu, the Use.
Finally, their first home game after that very, very hard-fought win in Entebbe against Avengers. Then the Avengers will be hosting Thunderbirds in Entebbe still. An opportunity for them to make up for their mistakes. I don't know. I mean, the Use conceded 117, 111, something like that.
Yeah,
on five.
Around that.
So, what do you think the Black Pearls are really going to do them? Because anyway, I had a conversation with Coach Helen, and she said that she might be fielding. She may give that opportunity to many of the rookies and many of the younger understudies to start that game. So maybe she says she wants them to get a feel of the game, and she feels that's the kind of opportunity. So it may not be a fully strength side. We may not see 100 points, but I'm expecting them to have a big win.
Edwin, you have the fixtures?
Yeah. Dungu's team does not have a ladies side. So in talking ladies rugby, you stop here.
We do have Panthers.
Where are the Panthers? We're waiting for them. We have been waiting. Nothing.
Read the fixtures. You actually know there's a ladies team, and you have to just
game week 4, February 4th. The first game week in the month of love. Walukuba versus Mongas in Walukuba at 4 p.m. 4 p.m. at Kings Park, Pirates versus Buffaloes.
Good game.
At Legends, 4 p.m. Cobs versus Hippos.
Those guys just too much.
Witchcraft RFC,
Those guys just too much. Continue.
So it's Witchcraft RFC versus Batubi RFC.
Cobs posted some stats. I hope you guys check out Cobs' Twitter. You look at it?
We try to whenever we can.
Continue with your fixtures. Those guys just too much.
Yeah, then
you have to be clear when you're saying that part for people that don't understand. Which one's just too much? Because you've talked about Cobs, you've talked about Hippos. Which one's just too much?
Then at Chadondo 4 p.m. Edens, aka No Logo RFC, is taking on Rhinos. Then at Makere, which I think is gonna be game of the weekend, Impis, aka Arrogant Sure RFC, is taking on Rams at 3 p.m.
Why do they call themselves Arrogant Sure?
Arrogant Sure is the banter name that your friends from Hippos nicknamed them.
Why do they call them Sure?
I don't know.
Now
only
we have the banter league. The Fat Cats are introducing the banter league, and the Hippos I think are leading this discussion. They came up with their top 6. Ever heard of a top 6 version of a table?
To
accommodate themselves. And I think they respected Buffaloes, but I think they'll clash later on. And they'll give them their nickname. So, number 1 on the table is Carolina Rugby FC. Who are the Pirates? Do you know where that name came from?
I have an idea.
Tell me.
So, there is this song of Who is Coming to Dinner.
Guess who's coming to dinner? So that's where the name came from. One of the Pirates fans called them out and said, Ginger Hippos, guess who's coming to dinner this Saturday? And then boom, they're now called Carolina RFC. Arrogant Sure, it started from Impis saying that they are coming for a prom or something, and that they are their Shures. I don't know. But
something
along those lines. But to be RFC, sad but
Well.
true. Sad but true. It's
Yeah.
painful. You guys,
Yeah.
you are hard done, but it
But
was
to
still
be-
not a try.
But to be
It was still not a try. Yes.
Number
I'm
4.
glad we have stopped the argument about the drop goal. That one we can't hear it anymore.
So then number 4 is No Logo RFC, that is Heathens. Buffaloes is number 5, and then Ginger Hippos, aka Witchcraft RFC.
Why do they call themselves witchcraft?
Pirates guys gave them the name Witchcraft RFC.
Why?
I
They have
don't
witch
know.
doctors on the day.
We're waiting for the
They
lower
give
the
funny
lower
names.
ranking of the table for the names as
So
well.
I think with time after game week 4 that table could change immensely. Immensely, but a bit
I mean, it will twist.
Nah.
to remain the same.
And the only potential upset I see on that table would either be in Makerere or at Legends. No, you guys, let's be real. Hippos has actually come and showed up at your games. Just that you guys are usually more experienced, and then of course your quality comes to the fore. But they have taken you guys, like they score, you score. They
How
score,
about
you
Buffaloes
score.
at Kings Park?
Nah.
You see, Buffaloes hurts me so much, and this one I'll
It hurts
conclude by saying
everyone.
this. Buffaloes is that team that it's like you see,
So near so far.
you see how schools at times have these are the cream de la cream.
Yeah.
Then they are taken away to sit the
Yeah.
exams from a different school to boost the stats for that school. They had this number of people pass with this aggregate. Now Buffalo seems like, and maybe you can't blame them, it's their setup or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's a Chadondo setup.
It's
but
like a
not
conveyor
fair.
belt.
As a player or as a coach.
They look up to what? To joining the biggest club at Chadondo. But Buffaloes is that team that I believe could have been title contenders. Season in, season out. If they didn't have that conveyor belt of the talent leaving them. You get? But I hope because now they have a junior side called Bisons. I hope they can manage to retain. But again, it comes
nothing. It's all tires, and the highest tire is Heathens, and that's
So
what everyone in the
let's
Chadondo
make a
setup
bet.
has.
Let's make a bet. When is Aaron Tukey going to join Heathens?
Aaron Tukey is a baller.
He's a bowler, bruv. He can bowl.
Kid is a baller. Special mentions from the league. You watched the game last weekend. Who is that player that stood out?
Definitely, it was 2 people for me. Actually, I'll say 3. Edgar Cairo for Mongas. He is a number 10 that I think we need to pay more attention to. He was pulling the strings in a very, very tightly contested game for the Mongas. His distribution has really grown. He just needs to work on his kicking, but he's really, really good, Edgar Cairo. Then for Impis, Emmanuel Sedevani, Osedia, wearing shirt number 7. Usually he had taken he was like, let me say the secondary jackal or the secondary disruptor in the team before they moved their captain Kennedy Muhomuza to the center. Now he's the sole guy, and he was a menace on the weekend. He had, from what I counted, and I'm sure there were more because there were a lot of ripped balls and everything, he had 7 turnovers and crucial turnovers. So many times when Mongas was trying to use their big ball carriers to ram into the Impis in their own half. And somehow you'd see a turnover. Somehow you'd see penalty holding onto the ball. And you see one man coming up with the ball, Emma Sediabani. Then, of course, Henry Sekuya has been that guy for them this season so far. He has been that guy. And I think the one moment that really stood out for me was when Mongas had just taken the slight lead. Then possession was with Impis. He kicked the high ball. He chased his own ball. It was received. He made the tackle and forced the penalty, and he converted the penalty, taking Impis back into the lead. Now that's some baller shit.
Hidden Scopes. Who is that player that stood out apart from Aaron Ofoi Oroth? That stood out from the Hidden squad.
Man, I mean, before Aaron kicked that thing, you could see that Joseph Aredo had bossed the game. He had 5 out of 6, scored all Cobbs' points. Maybe from a perspective of second half, he only scored 3. So he missed the second kick. He missed the kick in the second half, which goes to show that maybe Heathens were more cautious on defense and were not giving away very many penalties, because Cobbs only scored 3 points in the second half. But I think those two stood out because it was majorly a kicking battle. But when it came to open play, carries, and I like how Pius is free to roam in the forwards. I think that's what Ruben said, that he should be playing in the park, because when he's in the park, he's free. He does what he does. He carries the way he wants. He can carry, gain yardage without worrying that he has to pass the ball to someone else. And I think that's his key strength. So I feel like he had a very good game in open play as well. He managed to do his stuff quite well on his end.
Yeah, Joseph. Yeah. What's your key moment from the weekend as we close?
Looking into the weekend, we're going into?
No, your key moment from the previous one. Then we just, in about a few seconds, give our predictions for the weekend.
Man, my highlight was seeing Legends catch a vibe a bit. I think they can do much better than they did over the weekend. They need to rethink how they make their party life better.
Yeah.
Because there is room for improvement. Legends, I hope you can hear this. There is room for improvement in the way you organize the party life. Pick a few lifts from these new places that are coming up and stuff like that to keep people more engaged and to make it fancier. Not fancy perhaps, but to make it more interactive and crazy.
It was FA Cup weekend. There was nothing that was going to keep guys there. But this weekend there's rugby and they have very many screens, so
yeah,
they'll catch up.
Anyway, looking into this weekend, man, after Cobbs, I'll just have one eye on the Cobbs field, another eye on my phone. Perhaps I'm watching Sharks playing the Stormers.
What's up, man? Take a side.
Playing the Stormers. I can't miss all that rugby.
Sharks is going to beat the Stormers. I know you don't want to hear it, but Sharks is going to beat the Stormers.
It's a bet.
Let's on it, man. The big daddies are coming for you.
I guess injuries are undoing us, because our players had gotten jailed so much from last season, but because of injuries here and there, we are now bringing in the youngsters. Then we have the Six Nations. I can't miss that for anything.
You haven't given your prediction for Cobbs Hippos.
I believe Cobbs will bounce back heavily against the Hippos. Why I believe last season it could get a bit closer in terms of the contest is they had players that were anchoring there or holding it close.
Give me a prediction, Joseph.
Oh, you want a prediction?
Yes.
Cobbs win.
Cobbs win. Bonus point? No bonus point.
Bonus point.
Okay. Rams. Impis and Rams in Makerere.
That one. I think I should go watch that one. Looks like it's going to be.
It's actually going to be
hot.
broadcast by.
It's going to be broadcast by NBS. It's going to be a hot one.
Do you see an upset? Does unbeaten FC get?
I think Rams can upset if Impis give away very many penalties, and they kick well. That's the only way I'm seeing an upset happening. If Rams is disciplined and they don't necessarily give away penalties, and then Impis in maybe the arrogance want to attack as much and they infringe, dive into the rack, high tackles, whatever, and the Rams decide to kick their balls very well, that's the only way I see an upset. But I think Impis will take that one. Okay. They'll go 4-4-4.
So then there's Pirates and Buffaloes. There's no prizes for what I'm going to guess for that one. It's going to be a Pirates win. It's going to be a Pirates bonus point win.
Me, only thing I'll ask there is how are they going to do the jersey situation?
They have a black one.
They have a black one.
Buffaloes.
Yeah.
Hey, Buffaloes are sorted.
Buffaloes has red and black.
They have red and black.
Hey,
then
even Pirates has grey.
Black. Which that was it black but it turned grey?
It was red.
No, there's the red one.
It's like your shirt.
Yeah, that's why this is the kind of.
Yeah. So
but they say they have a new jersey coming out. I can't wait to see it.
Pirates.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Heathens. Guys, I don't know if Edwin has made this announcement. Edwin.
What's up?
Make the big announcement.
Which big announcement?
Your loyalty to.
Oh, you're asking me where I lie?
Tell them. Today is the day.
Heathens and I have been in the DMs. We've been flirting a little bit. Pika, easy.
But now
Ribs.
it's open.
I think it's now open. I don't know if I have the money for the membership. I may first chill with the chest gang.
Chill with the chest.
Won't chill with the chest gang, and then after, when I have big pesa in my pocket, the platinum credit money, then I'll go into the membership.
Said your wallet is heavy. Yes, Ruben, say bye to us.
You guys, this jazz can go on forever, but we need to go for our evening snack at the Fred and Winnie B&B. It's been interesting. Lots of action to catch. Don't miss out on the Six Nations this weekend. Don't miss out on Nile Special Rugby. Don't miss out on the URC Championship.
That's right.
There's so much going on, man. There is no excuse to miss rugby wherever you are. In Peace Rams will be broadcast by NBS. Free Karango for them. But thank you for always keeping it Fat Cats Podcast.
Fat Cats Podcast,
on our
crazy.
Social media, on our YouTube. Make sure you follow, you subscribe, and guys, we are out. Cheers.
Peace.